race had been known. It's a free country. Both the president and the citizens have rights to express their opinion. And anytime a president of a nation speaks, he's doing that to give assurance to the citizens. We are talking about an estimated over 200 million citizens of Nigeria.
Okay, now let's drive it further down. INEC is under immense pressure. The commission recently came out to assure Nigerians, again like the previous chairman did, that their votes will count, that they are doing everything possible within their powers to ensure that their vote counts. The president also keyed in with that, saying, oh, the independence is guaranteed, they are neutral and all that. But there are so many citizens, prominent, also saying election results have already been written, that all these processes will be to, like the biblical, fulfilling all righteousness. I was having a conversation with my 12-year-old son, and he gave me the same insinuation, that results have been written. And I was shocked. I told myself, the work has to start from home. The average young person out there, the average citizen will tell you, there is no need. The outcome has been known. And I'm concerned because of the threats and dangers it poses to our first democracy and second to our country. When citizens, I'm waiting for someone, I can even take up the challenge to do a survey. The Young Africa has done it. That people again don't believe in our democracy. Majority said they will not be voting. And we are not seeing it as a huge threat, as an existential threat.
Dr. Amechi, we need to sit back and it shouldn't, Nigerians can talk because they felt one way. Then many times talks are also very cheap. It's like when you sit with your friends who drink, like for those of us who don't drink, when they take a bottle or two or three.
But you take tea, Arabian tea and coffee.
I take tea, coffee, so but going beyond that, you hear the various friends who drink say so many things, even talking to themselves, argue among themselves. But fundamentally, when it's come to allegations of result writing, when you are using digital electronic devices to really make sure that votes count, anybody who is telling anyone that results have already written, you need to present evidence. Your statement needs to be backed by evidence. Of course, in the past, before electronic systems and devices were used, results were even being announced at the INEC headquarters in Abuja before collations were complete. But anybody who has any concern with genuine evidence should come out and present. Presenting such genuine evidence will protect the electoral systems and will prove to Nigerians whether INEC is doing something right or wrong.
Amechi, you cannot blame the Nigerian people for reacting the way they have done to the process. You can also not blame your 12-year-old son. You see, for a boy of 12 years to say that kind of a thing, that means he's been discussing among his friends, and they have also been observing the fact that over the years, with the different electoral process that has come, we have had assurances upon assurances, only for those assurances to be deflated at the end of the day because of the kind of controversies and discrepancies that manifest during our elections. If ever there was a Nigerian that convinced Nigerians that the process would be free and fair, it was former INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakub. He so convinced Nigerians that even the watchful ones went to sleep and were not expecting the kind of things, the kind of discrepancies, malfeasance, and unsavory things that went into that election, things that were so glaring, and Nigerians were sort of like helpless. They couldn't do anything, and they came with explanations of glitches and all of that, big grammar that some Nigerians may not really understand, technical issues. I mean, how can I, a broadcast journalist, understand those things? But the end of the matter is that Nigerians were grossly disappointed. They have been disillusioned over every electoral process that has taken place since 1999 to date. There has always been a section of the country that didn't see fairness in everything that transpired. But it has gotten worse since 2015. And it has gotten to almost a stage where Nigerians are beginning to think that maybe there is no hope, there is no rescue. Who will bear the cat? Nobody. You can't seem to see because it keeps getting worse instead of better in the estimates of Nigerians. So they have the right. And it is, the onus is now on INEC to prove Nigerians wrong. The onus is on INEC to clean up its image because that its damage is not, is not in doubt. So it has to do a cleanup that can convince Nigerians that INEC is sincere, beginning with the next election, which is the Osun governorship election. Let us begin to see some difference.
You see,
Mustafa, I think I made reference to the Yaga report earlier, and I've just gone through it now. Only 45% expressed confidence of Nigerians that they polled, expressed confidence in the Independent National Electoral Commission in the conduct of the election in Nigeria. Now, an electoral body, the fault may not be that of entirely INEC. I'm not absolving INEC of blame, but there is a multiplicity of factors. And like I always say, INEC must not be independent and neutral. Not the president saying it, not INEC saying it. It must be perceived to be independent and credible.
Seen to be.
Must be perceived, not being beyond being in reality. Because in reality, those in INEC, they may have shown integrity and readiness to conduct the election, but the body language out there people are reading is that you're perceived not credible. So a lot of work needs to be done so that we can encourage greater number of Nigerians to come out and exercise their franchise.
Doctor, I think we need to go beyond that. We cannot put the blame entirely at the doorstep of INEC. Are we saying that when politicians hire political talks, buy them bags of weed and cocaine, give them cutlasses, daggers and sticks and firearms, are we saying INEC should be responsible for the attitude of the Nigerian politician? Or are we also going to blame INEC when politicians and their big supporters come with bags of money to begin to induce voters at the voting point? Or are we going to blame INEC for ballot box snatching or coming to destabilize the counting? There are a lot of terrible things that the Nigerian politicians and Nigerian citizens are doing for a very long time. Sometimes even the security agencies were being blamed for doing a lot of terrible things like previous experiences in Ekiti election and what have you. If you said INEC all the time, then you are trying to mince words and trying to avoid the truth. In 2015, remember the presidential election during Jonathan and Jega was rescheduled to take place. And a lot of Nigerians didn't know why. Because the intelligence gathering and statistics showed the PDP and the president at that time that PDP may not win the election. They needed to do more work. They shifted the election. Yet the votes of Nigerians counted, and former President Muhammadu Buhari won the election. And there will always be a winner and a loser. If a particular region felt their preferred candidate loses election, then they will start querying the credibility of the election. But then to other regions where they feel their preferred candidate has won the election, INEC is perfect always. And there must always be a winner and a loser. But you see, except we put our sentiment, our primordial sentiment aside, whether we are journalists, whether we are politicians, businessmen, as citizens. Of course, I agree, INEC may not be complete 100% without any problem, because there are problems with late arrival of material, network issues, because the other time I was querying whether they are going to use the local networks that are hardly transmitting data and voice calls properly to Nigerians, and the NCC has gone to sleep. No, they have not been fined or queried, or monies for disrupted services have not been made to be refunded. So there are a lot of problems.
You see, I understand what Mustafa is trying to say, but he can only say that here Nigerians have their own perception of the process. And Nigerians see a lot. We can only see what we see when we move around and where we are. But generally, Nigerians see everything because they are everywhere. So we're not talking about one person. We're talking about millions of Nigerians. Okay, you cannot blame INEC for some of the things that he enumerated. But we have also, in the course of covering elections, you have also seen INEC officials compromising along the line. We have seen INEC officials being bribed openly. But you know, these are not things that you can tender as
INEC officials also refuse to be bribed.
Yes, yes, of course. That's why I said I agree with him that you can't blame INEC all through, but we have also seen things happening. And then again, who do you blame when people wait for election results to be announced and INEC officials do not announce it, only for it to be announced at midnight, late in the night, when Nigerians, those who are watching, have gone to sleep, and you wake up in the morning and the result has been announced. The result that they couldn't collate and announce why people were there. You see, there are a whole lot of things that demand questions that demand answers. And of course, INEC has to clean up itself.
Like I said, it's a multiplicity of factors. Everybody has got his own share of the blame, including INEC. The political parties have got his own share of the blame. Look at the primaries they conducted. It tells you more like it's like local council elections across the states. The primary is conducted by the political parties, but we must apportion blame to everybody, and together we must insist that we can. Many citizens have said, especially young people, they will not be voting. But we have that responsibility to encourage them to vote, because not accepting not to vote is to
even the National Orientation Agency should go to work.
Show despondency, and we mustn't. We must encourage our citizens to indeed show up during election day and ensure that they play active role in the selection of their next set of leaders, even though we ask every other stakeholder interest group to indeed inspire confidence in acts, in deeds, in whatever thing they do, because the public appear to be watching. Let's go on a break. This break will take you into the Court of Appeal judgment that came in Abuja. Some former legislators forum dragging 5 political parties to court, insisting that they should not be part of this election because they couldn't meet the threshold set by our acts and statutes for them to continue to exist as a political party. The High Court agreed with them, but the Court of Appeal yesterday said no. Let's take a listen. As we welcome our guest, Chief Dan Nwanyanwu, the national chairman of Zenith Labour Party.
Based on the evidence we presented, and even INEC evidence, it was clear that we satisfied the constitutional threshold to continue to remain in existence, and the judgment of the court was wrong. Of importance is even the pronouncement of the court that the evidence used in arriving at the judgment of the lower court in favor of the plaintiff was concocted. That there's the record of the court showing that there is evidence of defection on the part of members elected on the platform of ADC.
For anybody, democracy is all about contest. And when you have vibrant opposition, it will make the economy to grow. It will enrich your policy. It will even make you a leader to sit up. And when you sit up, you achieve your goal. But when everybody, as those of them who are masquerading in a villa, clapping for you, even when you are falling, they will still be clapping for you. Please allow opposition to thrive. It will help the democracy.
The Court of Appeal dismissed the appeal, the judgment of the lower court filed by the incorporated trustees or former legislators. They need to go and rest and allow political parties to struggle the way we have been struggling to make sure that political parties also strive in this country.
The Delta State government invites business leaders, global investors, policymakers, and industry captains to the Delta State Economic and Investment Summit 2026, themed Harnessing Our Strengths and Unlocking Our Potentials. Chief guest of honor, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON. Keynote speaker, Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, GCON. Guest speaker, renowned scholar, Professor Patrick Lumumba. Chairman of the occasion, Engineer Austin Avuru. Other distinguished local and international participants will also be in attendance. Date, August 3 to 5, 2026. Time, 10 a.m. daily. Venue, Dome Event Center, Asaba. Chief host, His Excellency, Right Honorable Sheriff Obrewori, Governor, Delta State. Announcer, Dr. Kingsley Emu, Secretary to Delta State Government and Chairman Planning Committee.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Our guest is here with us, Chief Dan Nwanyangu, National Chairman, Zenith Labour Party. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. This is my first time with this program since you brought it on television.
Congratulations.
So thank you for bringing it.
It's our honor to have you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the court judgment. Zenith Labour Party was one of the litigants, and the court have said you are a registered political party. But before we go into that, let's get your comments on what the president said on Tuesday yesterday about the independence of INEC.
Well, the president of Nigeria has his right to express his views and his comments. Everything seems to be going his way now as regards to INEC. So you don't expect Mr. President to say anything against INEC. But if you want to know the true position of INEC, you have to get in touch with the political parties, how they relate with INEC, how INEC is operating its affairs vis-a-vis the political parties, probably because the parties are seeing something different. During the time of Mahmoud, Mahmoud Yakubu. Mahmoud Yakubu believed in consultations. He consulted. There was no decision Mahmoud took in that office that he didn't get the parties into it. And parties keyed into it. That was why it was very difficult for the political parties not to support him up to the time of the election. But here's another chairman who came in. We have told him in the meeting the last time. 4 months he did not talk with the political parties. 3-4 months he didn't talk with political parties. And we told him, look, we should meet regularly, like Mahmoud. We prefer this time.
Under Mahmoud, they were having these quarterly consultations.
There was quarterly
not just with political parties, with media, with civil society.
Yes, apart from the quarterly consultation, at times Mahmoud will call for emergency meetings when something came in between the quarterly meetings. So we have advised him. You are new in the system, and there are national commissioners who are there. And we are not saying these things that we are attacking INEC. We are saying these things so that the system can be better. So it's not that anybody needs help. But if you don't do it properly, when you are getting close to the election, you call the parties will tell you, bravo, go ahead. Because the political parties are the most critical sector, the most critical group in this political arrangement. If you don't have political parties, there will be no INEC. So you must take them into confidence. You must deal with them. You must call them regularly in a meeting. For example, something that the political felt you should not go on appeal. You went on appeal.
Because they have the opportunity to go on appeal.
The court has said,
the
court said, look, don't go on this direction. Go and adjust your timetable. Instead of adjusting it, you went to court to appeal. And wasting money, well, you know I'm a lawyer. Lawyers, we can convince you will win. But when you hear the other side, you know you will not win. So lawyers, you pay senior advocates huge money. They go to court. They fail. They say, no, let's take it on appeal. When it is something, I personally made that suggestion in the last meeting. Let us sit down and look at this timetable, as we did with Mahmoud Yakubu. Adjust it and move on. He fell into deaf ears. And they went on appeal.
And one of the judgments came a few days ago.
Yeah, the judgment to that today. Amechi, there is no INEC timetable for the election.
How do you mean?
There is a Court of Appeal judgment The late judgment was read by Eberechi Susan Nyesomwike. She knocked down several provisions of the Electoral Act. They killed it. But we kept quiet because we waited for the CTC. The CTC is in my hands now. She knocked down section 77, 5, 6, 7.
And that section talks about a timeline for parties.
It talks about timeline. It talked about forcing the parties to sponsor candidates based on a register they had earlier submitted. In fact, she made that was a novel judgment. She made a distinction. There is no time limit. There's no law that limits registration of members in a political party.
But there was also this other judgment that gave INEC back its powers to
I'm coming to that. That was the one that INEC appealed. The judgment came at the same time by another
High
panel.
Court judgment.
Two Court of Appeal.
Court of Appeal, sorry. Yes.
One was sitting here, one was sitting here at the same time at 2 o'clock. So what am I saying? They will go and resolve in Supreme Court. But if you go through the judgment of Justice Susan Nyesomwike, you cannot but applaud her. And this has given confidence to political parties since that judgment. She raised issues we did not see. And when the National Assembly was making these laws, we drew their attention to it. You cannot sit in the National Assembly and rewrite the constitution of political parties.
The point we do raise is that there was also another Court of Appeal judgment that appeared to restore the powers of INEC.
Yes, and when they get to Supreme Court, they sort it out. But as far as we are concerned, this is the one we know.
How does it affect the electioneering that now that we are looking at January, February, you have litigation still going on?
But I'm telling you that the revised timetable of INEC has been struck down. INEC has appealed against this 2 days ago. There's no timetable for the election as I'm talking to you now. Take it to the bank.
Does that stop the political parties from their campaigns?
No, if the timetable has been struck down, where can you go and campaign? INEC must sit down. They must come down from their high horse. Talk with the political parties. Let us look at the Constitution.
Is it talk to the political parties, or do you want the political parties to dictate to INEC?
No.
Because we were told that just before the timetable and everything came, I think there was some form of consultation.
No.
INEC said there was some form of consultation.
Amechi, if INEC had consulted with the political party and we agreed, then the Labour Party will not challenge the provisions of the Act. How would you say, since we submitted register to INEC, members are still registering, and now they want to contest election? Constitution gave us 120 days to submit our candidates to INEC from the date of election chosen by INEC. You breach it by 2 or 3 months. That's what the court is saying. No, you cannot.
Is there an INEC problem or a problem of the Electoral Act passed by the National Assembly and assented to by the President?
No. Electoral Act talked about the 120 days. It was INEC that now brought it into dates. And court is saying, no, you can't do that. You can't breach the powers of the right of the political parties up to that 120 days. So how are you going to agree on this? It's by talking with the parties. Look, we have 120 days.
Yes, so what INEC said was that they took their decision so that we can see it from their own point.
Yes.
That they needed that room to put their house in order. That if you throw it open like that, it will be difficult for them to put ballot papers, do administrative work.
Look,
and all that.
It is laziness. If you want to print, go and get a professional printer. Don't give it to a nurse. If you want to print ballot papers, give it to a professional. He can produce 24 hours within.
Not handbag contractors, right?
Don't go and give back contracts. Don't give nurses contracts. They start looking for people to do it. That is the problem. We are very lazy in this country, particularly in public service.
But has that been the practice?
Well,
because you're saying something, we would expect that INEC knows the people who can print the...
I'm not talking from the cattle field. I'm an insider.
The ballot papers, okay.
I'm old in this game to understand. Oh. It's like they have refused now to extend the voter registration. Then the Labour Party will go to court. Are you telling me that? Are you telling? No, they say they won't extend after this one. Are you telling me?
But they have previously.
No, it doesn't matter. Are you telling me that persons, Nigerians that will be 18 September, October, November, that want to vote for the first time next year, that they will not vote? We will challenge it.
So if you turn 18 in November and the election is January, I mean, it's a whole lot of administrative processes. Digital processes. Remember, the PVCs have to be printed and all that.
No, but Amechi, if you were in the shoes of those Nigerians, would you like to be disenfranchised?
Oh, you see, they don't think. They don't think. I will be, just a minute.
Yes.
I will be 18 September, October. Say, by next year I will vote. You disenfranchise me. Wow.
INEC will say, we want to push them to a corner, box them to a corner when they make mistakes.
No, the right thing must be done, Amici.
Shouldn't we give them that shoulder?
They have
to
always,
say, okay, at this point, which has been the practice in our election, go cease all preparations and go and manage the data you have harvested.
Amici, they have been going to Togo, Ghana, everywhere to monitor election. What do they do there? When they come here, they forget it. So you go there because of Esta code. You have been monitoring elections. How is it done in those crimes? Bring good things here, let us do it. You cannot stop a Nigerian who will be 18 September, October, not to vote. You cannot. Let them close the register, we'll be in court. You must open that register. I mean, we can't fold our hands, allow things to be done anyhow. It is not right. So back to what we are saying. You see, the relationship matters. Nobody's asking for anything extraordinary. It's just improve the system and make sure that the system works. INEC is a body that you have mentioned it, that before that this consultation with political parties, civil society, I am sure they are continuing with that. But when there is a need, for example, like these judgments we have had now, you are talking of this one, you are talking of the other one. The meeting would have been called for the parties to come. Let's discuss it. You cannot do without the parties. If you are operating without the parties.
You want a political solution when a legal solution is underway?
No. You see, you will advise. The legal solution is there. Like these two judgments that Uju mentioned. Yeah, Supreme Court will sort it out. But there is no way you can abridge my time given to me by the Constitution, given to me by the law. You cannot abridge it.
Let's get your comments on the Court of Appeal. So many judgments coming from everywhere.
It's interesting.
High Court, Court of Appeal. But the good thing is that...
No, we have left High Court now. We're not Court of Appeal.
Yeah, and you have also left Court of Appeal for that came yesterday.
Yes.
The former legislators forum and 5 political parties. The Court of Appeal said, you are registered, and the High Court should not have even given judgment. 1, the Court of Appeal asked them to hold on. They didn't hold on. 2, the Court of Appeal said they didn't decide on jurisdiction, that those that brought the case lacked the locus
yeah, you see,
to institute the case.
You see, that's the problem. The forum of former legislators. In fact, somebody drew my attention a few days ago that my president, our president, Bola Tinubu, is the grand patron of that organization.
No, he is the chief of staff to the president that is a grand patron.
No, chief of staff too.
Yes.
Google it there. And the chief of staff is the patron. I'm not saying that they instituted the case.
Okay, apart from the chief of staff being the patron,
let me finish.
the president
Don't break my thought.
Yes.
Don't break my thought, please.
No, so that we can clarify.
So that's what I saw yesterday with the printout they gave me. Google it yourself now. So this organization was registered in December. They went to court. Their first action was to deregister political parties. We said, from where is this one coming? I said, okay.
No, registered in November 2025?
Yes.
And they went to court when?
In December, just December.
A month after?
A month after. Initially, it was ADC they were targeting. ADC and the court. Nigerians shouted, they want to do this. They want to do the ADC. They said, no, let's add other parties. That was how APM, Zenny Labour Party, came in. But they were so stupid and idiotic.
No, you are using very harsh words.
That is what they are.
No, sorry.
Those words are not...
Who would allow such?
They are not allowed.
You know how much we spent on this litigation? Yes. You know how much we spent?
They are Nigerians and they have the right. The court have disagreed with them, and that is it. They have the right to get to the Supreme Court. That is what citizens must be respected.
Due diligence.
Yes.
Zenny Labour Party has never won election since registration, since 1999. That was what they asked the court to do. We were not registered in 1999 in the first place. We have always won elections since we are registered. we deposed to certificate of returns before the court. At least the last one being 15 local governments in Abia and 176 councillors, Abia, Nasarawa, Rivers, and all those places. We deposed it. It didn't impress Lifu, Justice Lifu. And that was why Court of Appeal was right saying he concocted evidence. Because when they were reading the judgment of Zenith Labour Party, they said even with these depositions, the man refused to look at them. He was pursuing something with greatest respect.
Who?
Justice Lifu. And if Justice Lifu was not pursuing something...
It will also be...
Just a minute.
I'm coming. It may not be fair on him because he's a judicial officer and he was
I have said
some work to, and you're a lawyer.
Amechi, please.
You're a very senior lawyer.
Amechi, I'm sure you have...
They err in the process, but to impugn that they are pursuing something, I mean,
Amechi,
it amounts to conjecture that wouldn't stand. We are not being fair on him.
If he was not pursuing something, something was pursuing him. Amechi, you are from my part of country. I have said this proverb before. If a king that doesn't believe in justice, that does what he likes, and nobody can talk to him, in Igbo land, you go and wear a basket and don't go and abuse him.
Let's take a break. We need this break at this point. When we come down, I hope to calm down a bit more. There are so many issues we address, including your mails. Do stay with us.
Chambers where laws are forged and a nation's destiny is decided.
This is your parliamentary program, Inside the Parliament on AIT.
Voices rise, opinions clash, debates ignite.
We cannot be apologetic in the discharge of our constitutional duties as lawmakers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The burden of proving that the elections have been conducted peacefully and in accordance with law must shift to INEC.
From the Senate to the House of Representatives, this is where policies are tested, laws are crafted, and authority is held to account.
We spoke to some lawmakers on their opinions of the document presented by the president.
Every motion, every argument carries the hopes of millions.
We need more hospitals, more health clinics in communities so that they can effectively take care of the primary health need of our people.
The questions are tough. The exchanges are tense.
Mr. President, you can have your way, but I will have my say. You can use the gavel, and I will use my voice.
And those who want the proviso are 55 in number. And so the proviso says.
But who truly stands for the people? Who is driving the change that defines our tomorrow?
Let us tell ourselves the truth. Why are we here talking about LGBT, GTBT, whatever?
Get the answers on Where Nigeria Decides on Inside the Parliament on AIT every Tuesday, 4:30 p.m.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We have taken some tea, coffee, Mustafa, the one you take. And we are calmer now as we continue to engage with the issues. With us has been Chief Dan Mwanyangu, National Chairman, Zenith Labour Party, and we are taking a look at a series of litigation that have trailed the electoral process. But the good news is that the Supreme Court would take a finality. You know, the Supreme Court is final. To take a finality on all this, even when the courts are going on vacation, the Supreme Court may likely not go on vacation. There could be some vacation courts in the Supreme Court that will indeed deal with this matter because they will have a lot to bear on preparations for the 2027 general election. Let's get back to our guest. Supreme Court is the final, as I said earlier.
Yes, it's the final, but I didn't conclude the issue of the basket.
Okay. Yes.
You see, when you have a king who his job is just to be impartial, you collect bribes, and all you have to do is somebody will wear basket and go and abuse hell out of him. You know the importance of the basket?
No.
So that the deity on that stool will not recognize you.
Oh dear.
But you would have told him with all the things that he has been doing in the community. So what am I saying? We everything. They went on a frolic of his own, gave judgment. Even before the judgment, we discussed about issue of locus. The learned judge gave the people locus. We discussed the issue of jurisdiction. The learned judge said he had jurisdiction. Go and find your addresses. We ran to Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal said, tarry a while. Don't go further. So when he gave notice for his judgment, he said, look, my lord, the Court of Appeal has stopped you from, yes, I'm aware. I will take care of it in my judgment. I am aware. I will take care of it in my judgment. And in the Court of Appeal, when they suspended that judgment, they made one comment. They said, persons like this are not fit to be on the bench. Those were Court of Appeal words.
Let me quickly ask this question.
Yes.
Should the NJC take on some of these judicial officers who go beyond their brief, especially when a superior court is of the opinion that they shouldn't go further, they are going beyond their brief. Should the NJC take on some of these judicial officers?
Of course. That's what we call in law the doctrine of stare decisis. You must respect the higher court. You must follow the orders of the higher court. So if you are not following the order of the higher court, that means you are on a frolic of your own. You are no longer talking law. And if you want to say it as it is, you say the words are strong. Court of Appeal says so. It's like when Justice Berechi Susan Nelson Wike was trying to link the powers of INEC to monitor and observe. She said, INEC is like a class monitor. I'm quoting her. The job of the class monitor is to write the names of noisemakers
and not to punish
and give it to the teachers. He cannot flog the students. So she was talking about this issue of restricting political parties to the register, that if you don't do this, your name must be there, this and that. No, as we stand today, by that judgment, nominations are still open.
So that's my concern now. Conflicting judgments from the appellate court, how will it bear on preparations? Because INEC, based on the timetable, there was a period for primary election, primaries. Based on some judgments, those periods have been extended. It opened the gate for some people to move from one political party to the other, to become candidates in other parties. I mean, with all this apparent confusion, how will it affect this electoral process?
It will not affect
when the Supreme Court finally takes a position.
Amechi, it will not affect it. You see, this idea, the National Assembly had in its mind that there are people that will not return to National Assembly. By the time we cage them and clip their wings through the electoral process, through the primaries, they cannot go anywhere. That is the import of those provisions. But they forgot. Senate President is a lawyer. House Leader is a lawyer, senior lawyer that practice law. They forgot that Chapter 4 has some fundamental, inalienable rights of persons that you cannot touch. Right to freedom of association. There is no law which Justice Wike mentioned that any law, any act, any guidelines that is infringing on what Constitution has set when she was talking about the qualification to contest election, that those laws, that provision of the law abates. So, if that was the intention, my right to association. That's why I told you, anybody that wants to contest election can go to any party today.
Based on the judgment?
Of course, all you need to do is to write INEC. Give them 21 days notice. Go and conduct your primaries. We are going to sleep in courts unless we do the proper thing.
You said these litigations would not affect preparations for the elections.
No. Let me explain why it will not affect. We still have the time. 120 days before the date of election. So this must happen within this threshold. And I want you to understand me. You see, you don't sit down and make a law to suit yourself. And that mischief must be corrected. National Assembly goofed with greatest respect in this Electoral Act. Zenny Labour Party did not go further. We would have set aside the entire Electoral Act. But you don't want to create confusion. The facts are there. Go and sit down and read
there are other provisions that are obnoxious?
There are many. but we are concentrating with just this one that has to do with election. A team of lawyers are looking at it. You can't do that. What are we? Am I contesting election? Is to deepen the democracy. If you have legal advisors as Senate President, leaders, and senators and House of Reps, they should be looking at these things. How can you make a law that the constitutional right given to me as a citizen to have my religion, to move freely, to associate, and other things, you are breaching it by an act of government? That is what the law says. Any provision of the Constitution that is explicit, no other law can set it aside. And that is why they knocked that down. And there are so many. There are so many.
All right. I would still like to look at this issue of judges who are considered to be overreaching their briefs and the NJC. Now, why would the NJC not take appropriate measures to call these judges to order? Why do they have to be to wait for Nigerians to agitate and push before they do it? It's a regulatory body sort of, and it should be able to do these things, because I know that in times past they have done once or twice, but it seems that they have not taken enough measures to deter these kind of judges, from embarking on such judgments.
I agree with you, Ju.
I'm asking,
there is something they can do suo motu on their own.
Yes.
Without waiting for petitions.
Without waiting for petitions. And I'm sure petitions are. It's not only Justice Lifu. There are about 3 or 4 in that Federal High Court. The petitions are there. There are about 3 or 4.
So what is stopping the NJC?
They do what they like. I don't want to use harsh words. They do what they like. They go on frolic of their own. In law, when you go on frolic of your own, you're no longer talking about law. You're no longer talking about law and evidence. Just as Court of Appeal said,
yes.
From where did you get the evidence to say that Zeni Labour Party did not comply with Section 25 of the Constitution? That means you concocted evidence. They use their words.
Yes, and so lawyers, such judgments come when you get to a superior court. What they usually say, you erred, the lower court erred, and good enough. The good news is that there are higher courts that will correct missteps lower courts may have taken. We have to thank you so much.
Are we done?
For today.
Just scratch it.
For today.
We'll invite you another time.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We need to create time.
Thank you for having me.
We need to hear from our viewers and listeners. We have a feedback segment we value very well. Write to us through our email platform at politicalplatform@dargroup.com, and we'll share some of them now. Would you has a
yes,
number?
Amechi Obochi from Kubwa, Abuja, says the Court of Appeal yesterday overturned the Federal High Court's decision directing INEC to deregister 5 political parties, namely the ADC, Accord Party, Action Alliance, Action People's Party, and Zenith Labour Party. The appellate court declared the judgment ordering the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to deregister the parties null and void. This is a welcome development. However, it raises an important question. Why must Nigeria's democratic process always be characterized by needless back and forth litigation? Why should the courts repeatedly be left to resolve issues that should ordinarily be handled properly by INEC within the confines of the law? If a lower court delivers a judgment that is later found to be fundamentally flawed, what consequences, if any, are there for the judge? Judicial independence is essential, but so too is accountability and adherence to the law. Going forward, the judiciary must continue strengthening its internal disciplinary mechanisms to protect its integrity and public confidence. Next one is from Dayo, from Lagos. And Dayo says, in the same country, removal of subsidy, taxing, and borrowing are used for development. Also, government must give account for yearly budgets. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. Like they say, anyone that enters power through vote buying and intimidation can never be accountable to you. It's like putting an Agberu in a vault of the central bank. Look at the wastefulness of this government, from subsidy to taxing Nigerians and to borrowing and all. It's not reflecting in the life of Nigerians. Rather, they turn the people to beggars in the midst of plenty. Laji Agbas sent this one in from Ida, local government area, Kogi State, and it says, the same fate presidential ticket was one of the most controversial issues of the 2023 elections. As preparations for 2027 gather pace, many Nigerians expected political parties to learn from that experience by promoting leadership arrangements that reflect the country's religious and cultural diversity. A mixed faith ticket is both possible and practical because there is no part of Nigeria, or indeed most countries around the world, where only one faith is practiced. Our diversity should unite us, not divide us. If Nigeria truly desires to stand among the world's leading nations, the debate should not merely be about who wins elections, but about who has the vision, character, and capacity to deliver security, economic prosperity, technological advancement, and sustainable development.
The Kaduna State Governor has just nominated his running mate, a Christian from southern Kaduna. That people are very happy. Of course, I wish them luck. You know, Erufai, you also choose Muslims. I wish them a peaceful outing.
Actually encouraged. Now, check what our guest said. Is President Bola Tinubu grand patron of the National Forum of Former Legislators? Yes, the president is recognized as the grand patron of that forum, and the body of former legislators supports Bola Tinubu's administration and has endorsed him as their sole presidential candidate for the 2027 presidential elections.
So they may not be neutral in the process.
Apparently. Of course. Thank you so much for joining us today. On behalf of my colleagues, have a good day, and let's do it again Thursday. My name is Amechi Anapwe.
I am a second-generation farmer. My parents started this farm in 1962.